Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris and John Vias, Matty Shipka with the weather, and Matt DiMarzio with sports. Thank you for joining us. A longtime Burlington educator was killed in a vehicle crash in Boxford on Friday night. Barbara Joyce O'Connell, a teacher at Fox Hill Elementary School and a woman devoted to her family, passed away suddenly in an automobile accident on Friday night, October 26th. An obituary from Sullivan Funeral Home reads, she was 55 years old. O'Connell was a Salem native who moved to Burlington in 1989 with her husband to raise their 4 children. She was a stay-at-home mother when her children were young, but when it was time to go back to work, she returned to education for her career. She has spent the last 8 years at Fox Hill Elementary School in Burlington as a reading and math tutor specialist. She loved working with children, and nothing made her happier than when a student she was working with grasped a particular skill, her obituary reads. To see them attain a skill set and, more importantly, see the confidence and satisfaction in themselves made her life so meaningful. Burlington Public Schools posted about the tragedy to their Facebook page, and I quote, "We are deeply saddened to share news of the death of Fox Hill staff member Barbara O'Connell," school officials wrote. "Our thoughts and prayers are with the O'Connell family during this difficult time." According to the Mass State Police, the crash occurred at roughly 10:15 p.m. on Friday on Route 95 between exits 53 and 52. A 35-year-old Georgetown man was traveling on Route 95 northbound in a 2017 Honda Ridgeline pickup truck when, for reasons still under investigation, his vehicle traveled across the median into the southbound lane and struck a 2006 Toyota Sienna, which was traveling southbound at the time. O'Connell, the operator and sole occupant of this Sienna, was pronounced deceased at the scene, state police said in a statement. The operator and sole occupant of the Honda was transported to Beverly Hospital before being flown by a medical helicopter to a Boston area hospital for treatment of serious injuries. State police say the crash remains under investigation with assistance from the State Police Collision Analysis and Reconstruction Section and Crime Scene Services Section. No charges have been filed at this time. A retired Burlington firefighter and World War II veteran passed away this week. Robert Francis Sullivan, a retired Burlington firefighter and lifelong resident of Burlington, passed away on Sunday afternoon, October 28th, at the age of 91. Sullivan was born in his family's home on Peach Orchard Road when it was just a dirt road with 3 ruts, one for each wagon wheel and one for the horse pulling it. It was a time of outhouses and kerosene lamps. From an early age, Robert learned to love and play the guitar and piano, a talent he would keep up his entire life and use in later years to entertain his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Robert enlisted in the Navy at age 18, served in the Navy for a year and a half during the tail end of World War II. He was the recipient of the World War II Victory Medal. After his service, he worked as a carpenter until joining the Burlington Fire Department in 1961. He spent much of his time with the fire department as part of Group 1 and drove Engine 1. During his firefighting career, Robert had some notable achievements, including a ladder rescue from a burning building, as well as saving his brother-in-law who was choking. He also once helped deliver a baby, and the baby girl was named Roberta in his honor. He served as president of the Firefighters Association and worked on many of the muscular dystrophy drives. Later, much to his paternal pride, 2 of his sons became Burlington firefighters, and prior to his retirement in 1988, he had the opportunity to work alongside them for several years. Robert was the beloved husband for 69 years of Ruth Virginia, formerly Anderson Sullivan. The Burlington Veterans Service Office is getting ready for the 2018 Veterans Day ceremony. This year will mark the 100-year anniversary of November 11, 1918, the end of World War I. Robert Paris went to the Veterans Service offices to learn more about the upcoming ceremony, and he files this report.
On November 11th, the town of Burlington will be honoring and dedicating all who served in the armed forces. This week I went down to talk to Veterans Service Director Chris Hannafin about the upcoming 2018 Veterans Day ceremony.
So this year's ceremony, particularly Veterans Day 2018, marks the 100th anniversary of Veterans Day. and it marks the 100-year end of, or armistice of, World War I. So the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, in the Paris Treaty, the armistice was signed to end World War I. So we're celebrating the 100-year anniversary of that.
A guest speaker will not be present at this year's ceremony, but instead, the Veterans Service will be dedicating those who were killed in action with their brand new memorial wall.
We're actually commemorating the 100-year anniversary with the dedication of our Killed in Action Memorial Wall. And the criteria for that is individuals who have lived and attended Burlington Public Schools. We have 21 total names going up on the wall to include 2 World War I soldiers from the Army that are our first names going on the wall. So we'll have members from the 4 service organizations. That'll be the majority of our ceremony, is dedicating that wall.
There is one other thing about this year's ceremony, and that is the change in location.
We're at the Burlington Varsity Field. We basically did a collaboration between the Allied Veterans Council in Burlington and the Burlington High School. And we looked at it a couple of years ago and realized the flag that was on the field was kind of dilapidated. So we wanted to make a more prominent area on the field, and it kind of molded into something a lot larger than what we originally planned, but I think it came out really nice with plaques from all the services and 2 center plaques dedicating the wall.
Veterans Day isn't just another day off. It's a day to say thank you for all the military men and women who are currently fighting and who fought for our country.
I think, through our day-to-day lives here in the United States, we generally, not necessarily forget, but sometimes take for granted some of the things and the sacrifices that individuals that serve in the military, on top of families that have lost loved ones that have served our country as well. So I really hope that the takeaway for the people that will be here on Veterans Day and then celebrating Veterans Day abroad is the fact that 21 members of our community since 1917 have lost their lives, dedicating their lives to a sacrifice and to a cause that the United States stands for. And I hope that the people in the community, they realize that sacrifice and take a time out of their day, maybe a large portion of their day, to remember those 21 names and to really reflect on the sacrifices that they have made so that we can live the comfortable life that we do live.
From Varsity Field, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
A Woburn man who was convicted of stalking his estranged wife in Burlington in 2012 will not get a new trial. This week, the Massachusetts Appeals Court upheld a 2015 decision by a lower court to deny a new trial for Peter Chonga, who argued that the circumstances of his case did not meet the definition of stalking. According to court documents, Chonga and his wife moved to Woburn in 2009. At first, their relationship was good, but it deteriorated after, the victim said. Chonga became controlling and frequently demanded to check her cell phone and emails. Court documents say Chonga also became physically abusive. The victim testified he tried to choke her and that he regularly threatened to kill her. She moved into her own apartment in Burlington in 2010, but Chonga reportedly kept coming by and demanding to check her email and cell phone. He also reportedly called her repeatedly and followed her around. Around April 1st, 2011, the defendant entered the victim's apartment, pointed a knife at the victim's neck, and threatened to use it to kill both her and himself, court documents stated. 1 week later, the defendant again turned up at the victim's apartment uninvited. The victim, understandably not wanting him to be there, lied by stating that she had to go to work. When he discovered that this was a lie, he entered the victim's apartment, took her cell phone and the handset from her home telephone, threatened to kill her, and eventually hit her repeatedly with his boot. The victim escaped to a friend's house, but not before, as Chonga himself admitted, he grabbed her arm in an attempt to keep her from leaving. The friend called the police. In his appeal, the defendant argued his repeated intimidating, threatening, and physically violent conduct directed at the victim was not willful because it was not intentional and by design, two aspects of the legal definition. Instead, he argued that his conduct was motivated by jealousy and anger. The court did not find this a convincing argument. Contrary to the implication of his argument, this does not, even if true, indicate that the conduct was not intentional and by design, or that the defendant did not intend both the conduct and its harmful consequences, so wrote the Court of Appeals. The Burlington Parks and Recreation Department held Pumpkins in the Patch, an event to make up for the rainout on their annual Halloween Spooktacular, with games and activities. BNEWS reporter John Vias went to check it out and has this look.
Trick or treat. Everyone's favorite night of fright is back, and on the night before Halloween, the Burlington Parks and Rec Department held Pumpkins in the Patch. Despite the cold weather, kids and their families gathered around Simon's Park, dressed up, played games, and decorated cookies and pumpkins, along with a bonfire and an inflatable haunted house. While Burlington's annual Halloween Spooktacular was canceled due to a rainout, the town always has a plan B. I spoke with Parks and Rec Director Brendan Egan, and he had this to say about the turnout.
I think it turned out great. We have a great night of weather, nice and clear out, great bonfire, beautiful events. I think it really turned out pretty good. I'd like to thank TD Bank for generously donating pumpkins again this year. They're a great sponsor of ours. I do want to, if I can steal the mic for a minute, I want to thank the Burlington Fire Department as well for being on guard for the donating their expertise to the bonfire. I want to thank our program staff for all the hard work, especially last-minute changes with the weather last week, and then our maintenance staff for getting everything prepared, Rotary and the Interact Club for all of their hard work and their volunteering to man some of the games and events.
I also spoke to some of the town's trick-or-treaters who can't seem to get enough candy this time of year.
And who are you guys supposed to be dressed up as this year?
I am a devil. I'm Scooby-Doo. Pikachu.
Rob. Spider-Man. I'm not wearing my costume.
And what do you guys like best about Halloween?
Candy. Dressing up in all the candy. I got candy.
Candy. Candy. Candy.
That seems to be a popular choice every year. And what is your favorite thing that you've done tonight so far?
The donut on a string.
The donut thing. Donuts. The donut on the string.
Guessing how much candy there is. Carving pumpkins.
Finally, small changes can occur year after year, but the spirit of Halloween remains the same amongst the town of Burlington.
Yes, it's funny. This year, the children commenting on putting their decorations up on YouTube, you didn't really get that about 4 or 5 years ago. So it's interesting how even the kids are getting into social media and digital technology.
Obviously, costumes change every year. We get some classics that come back year after year, but for the most part, the costumes change, whatever's popular. And then the weather changes, fluctuates. We've had rain and wind before. We've had beautiful warm nights, so that changes. And obviously, we try to mix things up, new games, new activities each year.
From Simon's Park, this is John Vias wishing you a happy haunting from BNEWS Weekly.
In other Halloween news, boys and girls of all ages were invited to the historic West School for some tricks and treats on Halloween night. BNews reporter Robert Paris was there and has this look at the spooky fun.
Hey everyone, I'm Robert Paris, and I'm here at the Burlington West School on Halloween night. Let's go check out all the tricks and treats they have inside.
School's in session. Come in.
On All Hallows Eve, the Burlington West School opened its doors for boys and ghouls of all ages. I had a chance to speak with Quaker Mike about the haunted historic landmark.
Halloween night is the only night that we actually are scheduled to open the West School in the entire year. We do have it open for the third grade school tours, and we can open it for guests by appointment. But this is the only night that we actually have it open on schedule.
There were a couple of trick-or-treaters that talked to Count Robula. So I'm here with...
Louis.
What's your name? What's your name?
Roman.
And guys, what are you dressed up as tonight?
I'm a ninja.
And I'm skeleton.
And guys, what's your favorite part about Halloween?
I guess trick or treating.
My say is getting the candy.
So I'm here with.
Shayla.
And Brandon.
And guys, what are you guys dressed up as tonight?
My Roblox character.
A vampire.
40 seconds.
And what's your favorite part about Halloween?
Probably hanging out with my friends and family.
Getting candy.
Make sure to stop by the West School next year on Halloween. You never know what you might learn.
Oh, seeing the kids, just giving them an idea of school life 150 years ago. That's really kind of a kick.
That was a fantastic night here at the Burlington West School. For BNEWS Weekly, I'm Robert Paris. Happy Halloween.
The Burlington Police Department is offering female residents an opportunity to learn how to protect themselves in the event someone ever tries to assault them. The department is offering a free rape aggression defense women's self-defense class that will be held on Tuesday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. starting on November 6th and ending on December 4th. The classes will be held in the Kelly Murray wing of the Burlington Council on Aging at 61 Center Street. The program is free, and police only ask that students attend all 5 nights of the class. Women aged 14 plus can take the program with parents' consent and in the company of a female parent or a trusted adult if they're under 18. When you take these classes, please wear comfortable athletic clothing and please leave weapons and jewelry at home, police ask. RAD is a network of instructors who receive training in the tested system, according to its website. It has trained more than 900,000 women in self-defense since the program began in 1989. The mission of the RAD systems is to establish an accessible, constantly improving, and internationally respected alliance of dedicated instructors, the RAD site states. These instructors, in turn, will provide educational opportunities for women, children, men, and seniors to create a safer future for themselves. In doing this, we challenge society to evolve into an existence where violence is not an acceptable part of daily life. I quote, "If you have questions, contact Lieutenant Glenn Mills, G.A. Mills at bpd.org. Our crack staff has that up there. Or call 781-505-4945. In the continuing pursuit to make human beings obsolete, Burlington schools can boast a growing and enthusiastic first Lego League robotics team at Marshall Simons Middle School. Using STEM and a bunch of Legos, these middle schoolers create friendships and fun. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak went to learn about the program and has this report.
Every Tuesday and Thursday for 2 hours after school, this Marshall Simons Middle School team uses science, technology, engineering, math, and Legos to build a safer and more productive future for the human race. But before they can save the world, they've got to show their stuff at the first Lego League competition on November 17th.
So last year we had about, somewhere in the 20s of kids. We had about 20 so kids. This year we have almost 50 kids. The interest has gone up. And since that, we've doubled our coaches. Before it was just Jane Lynch and I. Jane Lynch, formerly from the Pine Glen, who's now at the Marshall Simons teaching 6th grade science. This year we took on John Walsh, who teaches Latin, and we have Kerry Shea, who's a science teacher in the 6th grade. So now there's 4 coaches. Sean Musselman comes in, helps us out. So, we divide the work by 5.
So believe it or not, you wouldn't expect it, but there's a lot of crossover between my students in the ancient language and the kids doing the modern robotics here, which is awesome. I came to the competition last year and, helped support them. And then I was approached earlier this year by Mr. Marino and Mr. Musselman and asked to become a full-time coach.
We have 6 teams, all who have different goals, working on different challenges, working towards getting ready for the big competition.
We have to build a robot and complete challenges on a challenge board, and while also having a research project.
There's lots of scoring points that go into that. Like, you have to bond with your team and you have to work together. You can never just have one person doing all the work.
For this competition, I am a researcher, a presenter, and a coder. I love working with robots, and when I'm older, I want to go to MIT.
It's like a good learning experience because I had no idea how to code when I came in, and now I know like how to use advanced methods for coding.
It takes a lot of brain power to keep yourself going, a lot of brain power and emotionally, because it gets very stressful because when competition's about a week away and you haven't gone and done everything you want to, it's a lot of work.
Once the sub-teams have kind of come together, it's really amazing how much of I could stand back and just watch them create and do all the coding and making the bots. And sometimes I find myself in their way.
I like to be able to work with the kids, outside of the academic setting, get to work on, different problem-solving skills that we're not necessarily seeing in school, and, we get to have a good time. We're after school, we're playing with Legos, we're in it to win it.
Robotics is really, really fun. You never have to just know Legos. I know I have a lot of friends here that are in presentation, and they do a lot of teamwork-based stuff. You make great friends here in robotics team.
It's a lot of team bonding skills. I've met a lot of new kids this year than ever, I guess.
It's not just playing with Legos, it's actually pretty serious. We take it seriously, but also incorporate having fun at the same time.
I'm hoping to get better at coding and working with other people.
When it comes to the approach, these kids have it all figured out. They're very creative, they know how to work hard, they're using STEM wicked hard, and that's the biggest thing that you can ask for. We don't have to influence them on that. We just kind of make sure we guide them in a way that's constructive.
Team building, education, and it's a lot of fun too.
It's the best robotics team around.
All of us wish this Marshall Simons Middle School team the best of luck at their first LEGO League competition. From Marshall Simons Middle School, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak. Back to you in the studio.
So, there's a slight problem in family feud.
Well, with middle schoolers like that, the future is assured for Burlington. A group of Burlington citizens are working on getting a sculpture park placed in Burlington to delight passers-by and create a visually appealing project. BNews Director Rich Hosford went to learn more and has this report.
Imagine as you are driving by the town common, seeing colorful, fun sculptures of many shapes and sizes lining the side of the road. That is the vision of some Burlington residents who thought up the idea of a sculpture park during a master plan steering committee and are now working to make it a reality.
In Master Plan Steering Committee, we were talking about the fact that the center of Burlington with all this greenery is really quite lovely, but it's not memorable. Every other town around, Woburn and Lexington and Stoneham, they all have a nice 1890 town center that's very memorable, and because of history, we don't have it. So, kicking around that idea and looking at all this green space, we came up with the idea, wouldn't it be neat to have a sculpture park in the center of town?
A sculpture committee was formed to help Nordblom decide on a sculpture they are planning for in front of Lifetime Fitness in the Third Ave project, and the plan moving forward is to have those same people and anyone else interested in joining the cause work on the sculpture park for the town center.
The hope is that the same committee can be used to figure out how to establish an ongoing sculpture park here in the center of town. So probably won't be styrofoam dragons, but some kind of colorful, fun thing that people will really enjoy and that can change every few years. The high school kids can get involved.
Exactly where the sculpture park will be located is still a question that needs an answer. The two main options being discussed are along Center Street from the Human Services Building down towards the fire department, and the other option is along the Simons Park side of Cambridge Street and down the hill.
So there's two different ideas. Both of them would be more like a sculpture trail than a sculpture park. But I would suggest that we form this committee, and the committee would have people from different walks of life in town and figure out, from the point of view of safety, of kids, parking, and so forth, what would be the best place for this to happen.
After a location is picked, there will be multiple decisions on sculptures that the committee will have to make, though Jonathan said he had some ideas for what types they should consider.
And the final decision would be up to the committee, but for sure we would look for colorful and fun, nothing political controversial, the kind of things that basically just delight the eye, so that when you drive by you say, oh, I love this one or I love that one.
Jonathan said another benefit of the sculpture park, or trail, is it could help give people outside of town something to identify Burlington with rather than just its largest retail location.
Instead of being known just as, oh, that's the town where the mall is, people would say, Burlington, that's the town with the cool sculptures. And I think it will be just a lot of fun for everybody. It's what I think of as low-hanging fruit, costs the town very little money, probably less than the fireworks cost us every year. And the way I also describe it is we kind of already have a sculpture park. We have all this beautiful green space. We just don't have the sculptures.
Finally, if anyone is interested in getting involved, there is an easy way to do so.
There's a website called Art for Burlington. That's ART4 Burlington.org. And there's a sign up there, and you can give feedback, and you can even check a box that says, I want to be on the committee.
From the Burlington Town Center, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
We've hit the November mark, which means the temperatures are likely about to start dropping, although today was beautiful. For the latest forecast, we go now to Maddie Shipka, who is filling in for BNews weatherman Peter Brown. Maddie will also bring us the community calendars so we can see what's happening in Burlington, which, by the way, this weekend is the Friends of the Burlington Library book sale, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Hello, I'm Maddie Shipka, filling in for BNews meteorologist Peter Brown, who's out this week. We start our weather report with the almanac, which says we're going to have average temperatures with a high in the upper 60s. Historically, there's been near summer-like temperatures in the past with a high of 76 degrees recorded on this day in 2001. However, the historic low for this day was 18 degrees in 1992. It must have been an earlier start for those winter jackets. One final note on the almanac is that the days will be shorter starting next week due to daylight savings time. Don't forget to turn your clocks back on Saturday before you go to bed. Now let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. I do have to say the weather is a mix of rain and shine. Friday and Saturday we'll see some showers in the area with temperatures in the low 60s and upper 50s. And Sunday and Monday we should see partly sunny skies and temperatures in the upper 50s. Tuesday and Wednesday will bring another mix of rain with the temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. And finally, Thursday we're back to partly sunny skies with temperatures in the low 50s. That's all for your weekly forecast. I'm Maddie Shipka saying, as Peter Brown always does, get out and enjoy the weather. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your Community Calendar. Enjoy an evening of admiring photos taken by Burlington residents. On Tuesday, November 6th, from 6 to 9 p.m., the Burlington Conservation Commission is having their first annual Burlington Photography Exhibit and Awards Night at the Grandview Farm. There will also be live music and refreshments. Everyone is welcome and the event is free. For more information, visit the Conservation Commission page at burlington.org. Come and see if you can catch the turkey. On Saturday, November 17th at 1 p.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having their annual Big Tom Turkey Hunt. Pre-registration is required and everyone is welcome. Please register by November 13th. For more information and to register, visit burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695. Dance the night away while helping the BHS Music Boosters. On Saturday, November 17th from 7 to 11 p.m., the BHS Music Boosters will be having an event called Dancing Through the Decades at the Hilton Garden Inn. Come and enjoy a casual night of fun with decades of music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The event is for adults only. Tickets are $25 per person and may be purchased at the door or ahead of time via Venmo at Elaine Manners. For more information, email burlingtonmusicboosters@gmail.com. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this has been your Community Calendar.
The fall sports season is winding down, but some teams are in the postseason. For the latest Red Devils news, we go to BNews sports reporter Matt DiMarzio for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, this is Matt DiMarzio here for your weekly sports report. The Burlington High girls volleyball team started play in the state tournament on Thursday night and cruised to a 3-0 sweep against Greater Lawrence Tech of Andover. After finishing an outstanding regular season, the Red Devils swept the Reggies to advance to the Division II North quarterfinals against either Weston or Boston English. If Weston pulls off a win, Burlington could actually host a home playoff match, most likely on Monday or Tuesday. The football team also made the playoffs this season and hosted Wayland last Friday. Unfortunately, things did not go smoothly for Burlington in a lopsided loss. We have some highlights. Let's check them out.
Last Friday night, the Burlington Red Devils had a playoff game against the Wayland Warriors in a matchup that decided who would move on in the MIAA playoffs. The Wayland Warriors piled on 3 touchdowns in the first quarter through the efforts of the quarterback Mason Bolivar, wide receiver Michael Lampert, and the running back Wellington Piera. Now in the second, Wayland would get one more touchdown by quarterback Mason Bolivar, heading into halftime with a score of 28-0 Wayland. Third quarter, the Warriors now in shotgun formation as Bolivar passes down the field to Michael Lampert for another Wayland touchdown. Wayland would get one more touchdown in the fourth quarter to put the score up to 42-0. Now as the game is near its end, Burlington, refusing to go down without a fight, would score with only 9 seconds left in the fourth quarter as quarterback Kyle Pena passed to Jake McCauley for a Red Devils touchdown with a final 42-6. We had a chance to talk to Coach McKay about the devastating loss.
I thought Wayland came out and played a very, very tough physical game. I thought defensively we just had a tough time getting off blocks and tackling them. Offensively, couldn't get any separation. And run game wise, we couldn't get up, we couldn't get any push. Therefore, we couldn't run the ball either. So we had a tough time.
The Red Devils have been eliminated from the MIAA playoffs, but will continue their season with 2 non-playoff games in the annual Thanksgiving Day game at Lexington High School.
Nonetheless, it was a season of significant improvement for the Devils and Coach Dan McKay, who were just 1-10 last season. Burlington plays at Belmont in a non-playoff football game on Friday night at 6 o'clock. And that is all for your weekly sports report. I'm Matt DiMarzio. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
A quick PSA before we wrap this week. As the old saying goes, spring forward, fall back. This Sunday, November 4th, marks the end of daylight savings time. Before going to bed Saturday night, turn your clocks back 1 hour. Officially, daylight savings time ends at 2 a.m. on Sunday, but unless you're a night owl and a stickler for the rules, Saturday night will work just fine. Computers, smartphones, and tablets will automatically adjust the time. This does mean that the days will be getting dark earlier, but we do get an extra hour of sleep on Sunday. Another week, another photo to highlight. This week we have a Halloween photo that definitely swings to the cute rather than spooky side of things. It was sent in by Tracy Sullivan and shows her granddog, Leo, dressed as Ty Beanie Baby, and her granddaughter, Natalie, in a Moana costume. A girl and her dog ready to hit the town for some trick-or-treating. Thanks for the photo, Tracy. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, the weather outside your own door, or photos of your family members, friends, and pets. Whatever you think is of interest and would like to share with us and the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line, Photo of the Week. Okay, and that's it for BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, Ted Stefanek, John Vias, and Robert Paris. Maddie Shipka with the weather, and Matt DiMarzio with sports. Thank you for joining us.